then I started to travel, which meant that I didn't get a chance to see any kind of television.
At 84, Frankie Avalon finally spills what really went down with Ricky Nelson. Born Francis Thomas Avalon on September 18, 1940, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Frankie came from a humble Italian-American family that worked hard but never stopped believing in him. Even as a little kid, he had this natural spark for music that nobody could ignore. It was like rhythm ran in his veins. By the time he was just a child, Frankie was already blowing that trumpet like a pro, not just making noise, but music. That horn wasn't just an instrument for him, it was his ticket into the spotlight. As a teenager, he was already performing around town, catching eyes and ears everywhere he went. People in the industry couldn't help but notice this clean-cut kid who had both the skills and the charm to make it big. At first, Frankie dropped some sweet instrumental tracks, smooth trumpet tunes that actually became hits. Those songs showed off his crazy technical skills, but things took a wild turn when he decided to start singing. With his dreamy looks, easy smile, and smooth voice, Frankie didn't just sing, he made people feel. Suddenly, he wasn't just a musician anymore. He was the American teen idol everyone was talking about. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, Avalon ruled the pop charts with hit after hit. Venus, Why, Just Ask Your Heart, and Don't Let Love Pass Me By. Every one of them hit deep with teens who were figuring out love and heartbreak for the first time. While rock and roll was getting louder and wilder, Frankie gave fans something softer. Romantic songs that still hit hard but felt safe, like a warm hug in the chaos, and his fame didn't fade. Frankie earned gold records, top charts, and then did something most pop stars couldn't. He jumped into movies. He became a total icon in the 1960s beach party movie craze. Teaming up again and again with Annette Funicello, the two lit up the screen with pure charm in classics like Beach Party, Muscle Beach Party, Bikini Beach, and Beach Blanket Bingo. Those movies weren't just fun. They captured the carefree spirit of a generation chasing sun, sand, and freedom. The chemistry between Avalon and Funicello was undeniable. They weren't just acting, they were the dream couple every teen wanted to be. Innocent, optimistic, and full of energy, their movies gave people a taste of joy and escape. Sure, some critics tried to write them off as light entertainment, but audiences knew better. Frankie Avalon brought real warmth and heart to every role, turning even the simplest beach scene into something unforgettable. His charm didn't feel forced, it was real. His humor came naturally, and his presence brought comfort during a time when the world was changing fast. Those beach party films gave people exactly what they craved: joy, escape, and a moment to breathe in a world spinning out of control. Decades later, that same energy still hooks fans who can't resist the nostalgia. But when the mid-1960s rolled in with the wild sounds of the British invasion and rebellious rock shaking the scene, Frankie Avalon didn't panic. He pivoted. Instead of fading like so many others, he reinvented himself. He showed up on TV, hit the road for live concerts, and eventually became a crowd favorite on nostalgia tours that celebrated the golden days of early pop. Frankie proved he wasn't just a pretty face. He had range, talent, and guts. He surprised everyone when he jumped into comedy and character roles, showing a whole new side of his talent. One of his most unforgettable moments came in Grease, 1978, when he played the smooth-talking teen angel. That performance, especially his iconic beauty school dropout number, was pure magic. He charmed a brand new generation, mixing sharp humor with that same timeless charisma that made him a legend in the first place. While a lot of former teen idols disappeared from the spotlight, Frankie Avalon did the opposite. He kept shining. He performed, toured, and popped up on television for decades, proving that fame didn't have to fade if you had heart and hustle. His self-aware cameo in Grease wasn't just nostalgia, it was genius. He showed he could laugh at his own image while still honoring everything he'd built. That moment cemented his legacy as more than just a 50s heartthrob. He became a bridge between eras. And Frankie didn't stop there. In 2007, he made a dazzling return to one of his biggest hits, Beauty School Dropout, during NBC's Grease, You're the One That I Want. Sharing the stage with Kathleen Monty, Leon, Ali Schultz, Ashley Spencer, and winner Laura Osnes, he turned that night into something unforgettable. The mix of his old-school charm and the fresh energy of rising stars made sparks fly. For longtime fans, it was a rush of sweet memories. For younger viewers, it was their first taste of the man who shaped a generation of pop dreams. Even in 2009, Frankie was still proving his staying power. When he appeared on American Idol on April 8th, he didn't just perform, he owned the stage. That moment showed everyone, once again, that true charisma doesn't fade with time. It only gets stronger. Frankie Avalon's performance got more than just polite applause. The crowd lit up with admiration. People weren't just clapping for his voice or his charm, they were cheering for a man whose career has stood strong for over 6 decades. Sharing the stage on a show built to spotlight new talent, Avalon proved that the roots of classic pop still run deep. He wasn't just performing, he was reminding everyone what real star power looks like. And Frankie didn't slow down after that. He's kept the energy alive through his long-running concert tour celebrating the golden age of 1960s pop. Teaming up with fellow Philly-born legends Fabian and Bobby Rydell, he's been rocking stages under the banner Dick Fox's Golden Boys. The show is pure gold, mixing nostalgia, slick showmanship, and heartfelt stories that take fans straight back in time. It's more than just a concert, it's a reunion. Fans who grew up swooning to their music pack the venues, while younger crowds show up to feel that old-school magic for the first time. Watching Avalon, Fabian, and Rydell share jokes, memories, and those timeless hits on stage feels like stepping into a musical time capsule. Every performance proves that Frankie Avalon isn't just a name from the past. He's a living legend still lighting up crowds wherever he goes. But behind all that fame and spotlight, Frankie's real story shines even brighter. Away from the flashing cameras, he's lived a private life built on loyalty and love. At the center of it all is his wife, Catherine K. Diebel, his rock for over half a century. The two tied the knot on January 19, 1963, right when Frankie was one of America's biggest heartthrobs. Back then, most teen idols couldn't keep steady relationships. Fame usually tore them apart. But Frankie and Kay flipped the script. Their marriage turned into one of the longest-lasting love stories to come out of that golden era of pop stardom. And here's the thing. Kay wasn't from the entertainment world, and maybe that's what drew him in. She was a beauty pageant winner, admired not just for her looks, but for her genuine warmth and grace. Their love story didn't begin at some fancy Hollywood party. It started at a friend's house over a simple card game. No cameras, no red carpets, just two people clicking in the most ordinary way. That's what makes it so special. In a world obsessed with fame, Frankie Avalon found something real, something steady, something that's lasted a lifetime. What started as a casual card game between friends quickly turned into something real. Frankie Avalon and Kay Diebel's connection grew strong fast, built on shared values, deep respect, and a mutual desire for something steady, away from all the flashing lights of fame. When they said "I do" in 1963, it wasn't just a wedding. It was a turning point. At the peak of his fame, Frankie made a bold choice most stars couldn't. He put love and family above the glitz, gossip, and chaos of Hollywood. While other teen idols were caught in messy relationships, public breakups, and scandals, Frankie took a different route. He devoted himself to being a husband first and a star second. Over the years, he's never been shy about giving Kay credit, calling her the anchor who kept him grounded and the one who helped him stay real when the world wanted him to be larger than life. She kept his feet on the ground, his ego in check, and his heart right where it needed to be. More than 60 years later, their marriage stands as one of the rare success stories in showbiz, a real, lasting partnership in an industry known for fleeting romances. Together, Frankie and Kay built a big, tight-knit family with 8 kids who grew up surrounded by love, tradition, and laughter. That kind of closeness doesn't just happen. It takes balance, sacrifice, and the kind of devotion that never fades. Even while juggling tours, films, and non-stop fame, Frankie always made sure family came first. He didn't just talk about being a family man, he lived it. He turned down work to be there for his kids' milestones, made time for dinners, and showed up for all the little moments that mattered. He wasn't raising his family in the spotlight, he was raising them in love, in stability, and in the kind of home that kept everyone connected. And as time went on, that family grew even bigger, with 10 grandkids joining the mix. Frankie talks about being a grandfather with the same excitement he once brought to the stage. Family holidays, big gatherings, and shared traditions became the heart of his world. When he looks back, he doesn't say his biggest success was a gold record or a movie hit. It's the life he built with Kay and their family that means the most to him. Even one of his kids, Frankie Avalon Jr., took a shot at following in his dad's footsteps. He made a memorable appearance in the original The Karate Kid, a movie that became an all-time classic. His acting career may have been short, but that small role added yet another connection between the Avalon name and American pop culture, keeping the family legacy alive and shining. Frankie and Kay Avalon made one thing clear from the start. Their kids weren't trophies for the spotlight. They never pushed them into fame or tried to turn them into the next generation of teen idols. Instead, they encouraged their children to find their own way, whether that meant chasing dreams in entertainment or building lives far away from it. Education, independence, and happiness always came before fame. That was the Avalon way. Now, at 84, Frankie Avalon finally opened up about a story he'd kept tucked away for decades: his emotional, complicated friendship with Ricky Nelson. Time, he said, had softened the sting of those old memories, letting him talk about it with honesty and warmth instead of rivalry. The teen idol era wasn't a battlefield anymore. It was a shared journey between two young stars learning how to survive under a spotlight that never dimmed. People always wanted to pit us against each other, Frankie admitted. Ricky and I were supposed to be rivals, like there was only room for one of us. But the truth is, we were just two kids trying to figure out who we were while the whole world watched. His words carried both nostalgia and understanding, a glimpse into what it really felt like behind the fame. He remembered how fame came crashing in overnight. The screaming crowds, the hit records, the pressure to keep smiling when the world expected perfection. Ricky, already known from the adventures of Ozzy and Harriet, seemed more experienced at handling it all. But Frankie noticed something deeper, that success also came with its own kind of loneliness. I admired Ricky more than people ever knew, Avalon confessed. He had music in his bones. Rock and roll wasn't something he put on like a jacket. It was part of him. Frankie spoke about how he'd watched Nelson transform over the years, pushing to be seen as a serious artist rather than just a TV heartthrob. That fight struck a chord with him because he understood it all too well. "We were both boxed in by our success," Frankie said. "The audience loved us for what we represented, but they didn't always want to see us grow." Those words revealed the truth behind the polished image. Two young stars who shared more than fame. They shared the struggle of being adored for something that didn't tell the whole story. For Frankie Avalon, finally opening up wasn't about rewriting the past. It was about honoring a friend, remembering their bond, and acknowledging the price that came with the spotlight. Frankie Avalon got real about what life was really like behind all that fame. He admitted that when they were young, neither he nor Ricky Nelson knew how to open up about the pressure they were drowning in. "Back then, you didn't sit around talking about feelings," he said. "You smiled, you sang, and you showed up on time." But beneath that perfect image, Frankie could see something in Ricky, a quiet storm of frustration. Ricky didn't just want applause, he wanted respect. And chasing that in an industry that tried to freeze you in time took real guts. As the years went by, regret started to creep in. Not for what was said, but for everything left unsaid. With a heavy heart, Frankie confessed, "I wish I had told him how much I respected his fight to be himself. We all thought there'd be more time. But time ran out too soon." Ricky's tragic death in 1985 hit Frankie harder than he ever expected. When Ricky was gone, it wasn't just the loss of a friend, he said quietly. It was the loss of a shared past, a time only we could understand. Now, at 84, Frankie Avalon doesn't speak like a teen idol anymore. He speaks like a survivor of an era that chewed up young talent and rarely looked back. Ricky deserved more credit than he got while he was alive, he said with pride. He stayed true to his music even when it cost him popularity. That takes integrity. His tone wasn't sad. It was filled with admiration and peace. History's been kinder to him than the moment ever was, Frankie added, and I'm glad for that. In the end, his words weren't about competition or fame, they were about brotherhood, forged under impossible circumstances. We were part of something bigger than ourselves, he concluded softly. And Ricky, he mattered. Not just to the charts, not just to the fans, but to me. Frankie Avalon's story isn't just a walk down memory lane. It's a powerful reminder of friendship, legacy, and the human side of fame. What do you think of Frankie's heartfelt confession about Ricky Nelson? Did it change how you see them? Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment for more untold stories from music's golden era.